Hello there. Dr. Bill Crawford, psychologist, speaker, author of 7 books, host of 2 PBS specials. Here again to bring you another tip on how to help you create the life you want. Today I want to look at 3 subjects: freedom, risks, and shame. It comes from a quote that I'm sending out to those 5,000 plus folks on my quote list. It was originally adapted from Seth Godin's book, The Icarus Deception. It says, "Freedom is the ability to take risks without the prospect of shame." The ability to take risks without the prospect of shame. So let's look at that. Freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom to do what? Freedom from anxiety. Freedom from self-doubt. Freedom from second-guessing ourselves. Freedom from the fear that if we take a risk and it doesn't work out, somehow we will feel bad about ourselves. We'll feel shame. We'll feel regret in a way that minimizes our ability to take that risk in the future. Now, the original quote that Seth Godin had, he says, art is vulnerability without the prospect of shame. And I think those folks out there that I work with who are performing artists, visual artists, you can really relate to that because it's really about being able to be vulnerable without that prospect of shame if that vulnerability just doesn't work out. But I wanted to change it to freedom and risks for the rest of us, because I think sometimes when we think about art, we think of what artists do. That's not what Seth says. He talks about art is whatever you do passionately. He talks about making your work art. Pretty cool. And that whole concept of vulnerability, a lot of people go, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not really something I want to embrace. So I looked at the concept of freedom versus art, taking risks, because you got to kind of be willing to be a little bit vulnerable when you do that, and again, without the prospect of shame. What if we were able to do that? What if we had the freedom to be who we are, to go with what feels right, to try some things that we don't know how they're going to work out? Take those risks without the prospect of shame. Now, that doesn't mean that if we do something that is really, doesn't really work out and hurt someone or something, we can't have regret. That's a good experience. I mean, we can say, okay, good information. If I were doing that differently in the future, here's how I would do it differently. But notice the difference between that and shame. When we're looking at a situation that didn't work out, a mistake, as a mistake, an action that we took that missed, a mistake, then okay, that's good information. Now here's what I know. Here's what I've learned that I didn't know going into that, and here's how I'm going to apply that learning in the future. That's the difference between awareness and shame, awareness and worry. So just think, what if you had the freedom to go with your gut, to go with your ideas, to put those forward, knowing that sometimes that's going to work out and sometimes it doesn't. It's always going to give us good information, but there's no prospect of shame in that process. How would that free you to be who you are, do what you love, excel in the areas of life that you want to excel at? Parenting, work, art, relationships. Just notice how all of this fits into freedom, is the willingness to take risks without the prospect of shame. If that's something that you would like to embrace, I would encourage you to do so. We now know that shame, fear, worry, guilt come from that lower reactive part of the brain. Great in a fight or flight situation, not so great in life. Clarity, confidence, creativity, the ability to bring our best to life, that comes from the upper 80% of the brain. And the part of the brain that decides whether we go down to the lower 20% or up to the upper 80% is this this limbic system. The problem is the limbic system is unconscious, and it is using old beliefs to determine whether it sends that data down to the brainstem or up to the neocortex. That's why we've really got to make sure we are choosing beliefs, perspectives about ourselves and the world that actually allow us to access our best, the ones that we would teach to those we love. So if freedom is the ability to take risks without the prospect of shame, if that's something you would teach to someone you love, if that's something you see would be valuable in your life, I would encourage you to begin to practice that. Because anything we practice, we get good at, and all of a sudden, what is happening now is we're opening up to our natural talents and our natural abilities to succeed in pretty much every area of life. Hoping you're finding these videos valuable. If you do, please hit the like button. You know how Facebook, Google like them. Share it with your friends if you would. Leave a comment below, by the way. I love your comments. I'll try to respond to anyone if you have a question. And if you want me to come and talk to your organization, your school, your church, your people about the ability to take risks without that shame being a part of the process, I'd love to do that. It's what I do. It's from my system that's the title of my book, Life from the Top of the Mind, or the version that's for artists, Freeing the Artistic Mind, or the version that's for college students, College from the Top of the Mind. It's a system, a framework, a philosophy that shows you how to do this. In the meantime, here's to you bringing more clarity, confidence, creativity to everything you do, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.